Hello YouTube viewers, welcome back to the Scientist Razz channel, and I'm Razz. And in the last video we designed a pick and place machine in HeeksCNC. Now what I promised to do in the last video was to take that machine out of the virtual world and place that machine into the physical world. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at HeeksCNC, look at our design, and start moving our design out of the computer into the physical world. So let's take a look at HeeksCNC. We're going to try to make this backplate here, because everything, this is the heart of the machine. Everything hooks to this machine. These linear bearings here, these linear bearing carriers here, linear reel carriers and all of this. So everything hooks to this. So we're going to try to build this thing. So we have this backplate here that's blocking our view. So let's click on that. Go over here to visible and clear that. It makes it invisible. Now we have a good view of the backplate. What we want to do is mill out these holes in the correct alignment, in which they are right now. And also we're going to mill out the holes for this motor mount as well. This is a NEMA 17 motor. And for the components that are on the front of this. So in order to do that, I've made a cylinder right here. It's arbitrarily long, in this case 50 millimeters long, but it's 3 millimeters in diameter, which is what I want my hole size to be. So I'll take this, in the real world this would be called a transfer pin. So I'm going to select this, zoom in on it, select it, and let's move it over here. Okay, it doesn't line up exactly, so what we're going to do is go here to position, and we'll move the position around. It's probably a half of a millimeter, so 23. Okay, that took a little doing, a little trial and error, but we have our transfer punch centered in the hole for this linear bearing here. What you can do is you can adjust these settings of the position of this transfer punch here, which is basically just a cylinder I made. You can, and these were my settings. I had to use tenths of a millimeter to get it centered in these holes. So now that we have that centered, let's make some more, and we're going to put this transfer punch through all of these holes to mark these holes. We'll take the one. Wow. Yeah, every one of them is going to have to be fine-tuned to find the center for some reason. Well, that one worked out. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. That took a lot of effort, but I've got all of these transfer pins in the center of these holes of the bearings that we imported from McMaster car. So that's in the center of that. That's in the center of that. They're all centered. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. Let's rotate this around, and you'll see these transfer punches go through these bearings here, and they also go through this, I'll call it the X carrier plate, go through that as well. So what we can do, what this allows us to do is have these holes punched out through this X carrier plate that we're making here. And let me show you how to do that. So okay, what we can do is select this X carrier plate. Go over here to select mode as always. Going to select this X carrier plate. And then we're going to control click to select these transfer punches that we put in. Control click that one, that one. So we can get that one, that one, that one, that one. And as I showed you in the previous video, we can go up here to this cut, and we'll do a cut. And there you go. Let's take a look at that. We have all of the holes. We've made these holes with this transfer punch for these linear bearings here. So what we're going to do now is put some transfer punches through here so that we can mount these bearing carriers, these linear bearing carriers, which are on the other side of this. So we'll select one here. So we have to select mode here. Go to select mode. Select this. Copy it. Select this backplate. Control click this. Go up here. And just cut. Okay. So we have all of these holes here. That's for this here to mount that. These two to mount that. For to mount that. For to mount that. For to mount that. And for to mount that. Okay, so let's take a look at this NEMA 17 stepper motor, and I'll show you a technique for dealing with that. Now I'm going to copy it. Okay, we have a copy of our stepper motor. Now select it. Okay. I'm going to drive this into here. Move this into here like that. And then what I'm going to do is select this. Control select that. And I'm going to cut it. Cut it. And let's see what happened. Well, I made quite an impression there. Okay, I made a 3.2 millimeter transfer punch. And we'll copy this. Paste it. Let's paste another one. And this back plate here. Now we have to make this hole here that the NEMA 17 stepper motor will fit through. We need to center this within this hole. Let's make it larger. Diameter 3. That's going to be, let's try 15. Okay, that looks close enough. So again, select mode, surface to be cut. It's this thing here. Then control click the item to cut with. Come up here and cut it. Okay. Okay, we used our transfer punches to transfer the holes of this NEMA 17 motor onto this mounting plate we're making. Okay, so I think that's all the holes that we need in this plate. We have here for this bracket, here for that bracket, these 4 linear bearings, this NEMA 17, this hole in the center here, these holes here, 4 holes there. Okay, now the next step is to save your work. So we'll do that now. Make sure you saved your work because we're going to be getting out of this model right now. So we'll select our X back plate. We're going to copy it. Now we're going to go up here on HeeksCAD and say new. And I'll say no because I just saved it. Now we'll go right click and go paste. And what it gives us is our X back plate. Okay, so we're going to clean this up, and then what we need to do is align this plate onto this XYZ axis here. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, that looks pretty good. We've got that where we want it. The x-axis is this way, the y-axis here, because my machine, my milling machine, the x-axis is longer than the y-axis. And now we need to take a look at the z-axis. That's very important. So we'll do this. Okay, we need to place this. Here's our z-axis here. We need to place the top of this at z equals 0. Because otherwise, when we cut it out, if we have it up here or below there, there's going to be some problems because our milling machine is calibrated to work with a z-axis is 0. So this has to be below 0. So we'll take this and move it up to 0. And there we go. Okay, so what we do now to create our milling operation is we have to select this face here. So let's see. So make sure this object is selected. Select. You see the tabs here. And pick faces. Pick this face here. Now we can right click and say make a sketch from face. And here's the sketch. I put it over here. Let's click on this to see what we have. Well, that looks correct. Okay, also what we want to do is we want to make another sketch. We can copy that one, but we'll just make another one. Here's the face here. Make a sketch from face. Because there are going to be two milling operations here. There's an inside milling operation on these holes, and then there's an outside milling operation on this perimeter here. So we're going to need two CNC operations. Okay, we've made our two sketches. Let's select our first sketch and come up here. These are CNC milling operations. And select profile. That's this one here. And we're going to go inside because we're going to do these holes here, and they have to be cut from the inside. Inside. And we'll deal with this later. And we go up here to go. And it looks like it's done something. Let's see what it's done. File B. It created the profiles. I'm going to make this invisible so we can see what it's done here. Clear the visible. And you can see the tool paths that it made. I'm using a 3.1 millimeter bit, so it's just gonna, looks like it's gonna go over here, go down, and just go down straight, because the hole is 3.2 millimeters. So it's just gonna go straight down. It's gonna cut this out from the inside, which we don't want. Looks like it wants to cut that out too. That would be interesting. Okay, but we don't want it to cut this outside perimeter out from the inside. We want it to cut from the outside. So that's why we have two sketches. So we're going to look at this first sketch and get rid of these outside lines here. And you'll see it has several lines. The arcs are the circles. We want those. We don't want any of the lines. We're not going to cut this out. So we go here and just, we can click these lines. We can control click, select more than one. Right click, delete mark items. Okay, let's go down and get the rest of the lines. Click, control click, select all, more than one. Right click, delete marked items. Go to our sketch again. Reorder. Click go. Okay, so now it looks like we have accomplished something. These are our tool paths. This is the clearance. It'll go here, then it goes down. Goes back up, goes down, back up, so on and so forth. Now let's get this outside, this perimeter of this part here. Okay, we're done with that sketch. Now we go to this sketch, and as you've seen, I think we want the lines, but we don't want the circles here. So we'll go sketch, we'll do a profile, and if we click go, let's see what it does. Gives us this. We don't want these circles on this one, so let's click all of these. Okay, we've gotten rid of all the circles, the holes, and now we'll select on this profile, the second one, to mill on the outside of this line, and that looks most excellent. Here's our tool paths here. Those are ones in green, and the rapids are in red. Looks like it's going to cut around the outside. It's going to go in here, make these holes in here. It's going to ignore this. We need to do these. So let's see if we can manually get those. So we right click, pick edges. Let's pick this edge here. And control, pick this edge, because these are arcs, and apparently there's two arcs to a circle. Okay, looks like we got everything. Now make sketch, make the sketch. Here's the sketch. Let's see if it got everything. Okay, it did. Now we want a milling operation on this to cut those out. Go up here to our profile operation. We've got to change the order to good. Reorder those. Now we'll make this milling operation. It's going to be inside because we're cutting out a hole. And just click this. Click go. Well, that looks pretty good. Got our outside operation here. Got this inside operation here. We've got all of our holes. Looks great. Okay, so the next thing that we do is we're going to save this. Always save your work. Work often. Go to machining and save the NC file, the numerical control file. Now Mach 3 uses the tap file extension, so we're going to name this X backplate milling tap. We'll save that. Okay, now the next step is onto the milling machine, and I know what you've been waiting for, the cutting of the aluminum, but not quite. One thing that we need to do now is we need to check everything for reasonableness. So let's select this backplate here. Let's make it not visible. And what we're going to do, we're going to go to the sketch. Look at this sketch here. And what we're going to do is we're going to print this sketch out and see if indeed everything does line up with the components that we've selected. So select the sketch here. Select move. Put that there. Now we'll go to File, Print Preview. Okay, let's print this out. Okay, here's our printout. Looks reasonable to me. Let's take our part. See if the holes in our parts line up correctly. Can't really see that, but that's lined up. That one you can see, that's lined up. Looks good. Okay, it looks like we're out of time, but tune into the next video where we'll take the NC file that we exported from this backplate and import it into our CNC milling machine and cut this thing out. Okay, so just go Razz out, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.